Devin Bitchfart looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Alright, now that I got that out of the way, I want to talk about Nintendo. I love Nintendo games. I have a lot of their hardware, but I always go back to the Nintendo Wii and playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl and what is essentially my favorite video game of all time, Super Paper Mario. There is just so much fond memories I have of countless summer vacations where me and my brother sat in our house upstate and we just duked it out in some Smash Brawl. I'd always be Rob and he'd be Luigi, and we just constantly kept at it for hours. It was so fun, and there is just no other company that has had this amount of impact on my life, maybe aside from Nickelodeon, but there is just no other company that has had this amount of impact on actually, well, anyone's life, essentially, other than Nintendo. But it's hard staying a fan of anything when not only the fans are retards, but the company's releases have failed to impress for over a decade now. And I'm gonna lump the Switch with the Switch 2 together since, well, they're the exact same thing. I really never got into this whole Switch brand era Nintendo was in. It's like ever since Iwata passed away, their games lost two things that made them great: universal fun gameplay and creative presentation. First off, what matters most, gameplay. After 2017, Nintendo thought most of their games needed to be an open world, hollow, pathetic, and easy. Like, look at half of their game releases. Look at their past game releases for the past few years. We got Mario Kart World, which is just a big void game. It's missing several features, and the roster could have been way better than what we got. They have all these intermission tracks and baby puzzles to justify what is essentially just wandering. You get Metroid Prime 4, years in development hell, swapped devs, had to be remade from the ground up, and then we finally get the final product. And what do we get? We get this subpar sequel with all the isolation removed and some story about climate change. And these bike segments, why are they here? Was it last minute they said they need an open world and they just shoved it in? It's bad enough we got Mort Goldman toiling around. Now we got this empty void so pointless it could have just been a simple level select menu and nothing would have been lost. Donkey Kong Banana. Played it for like 5 minutes at a kiosk. All I did was mash one button and hold forwards and that beat the level. There's like no level design, so it was effortless. I don't care if these are kids' games. Kids don't even want to play them and master games like Fortnite. Plus, you ever played Crash Bandicoot or Ghosts and Goblins? These are games that are so difficult, and yet they were made for essentially children in mind. Kids aren't bad at video games, and there's no excuse for this on any level. And it's not even just the Switch 2, it's the Switch 1 that has plenty of shit too. You know, Brothership was overhyped Unity slop. Yeah, they don't even make their engines anymore. And the game drags. It just drags longer than Paper Jam, and is mostly just useless walking and interactions. The story is just Super Paper Mario with no soul, and somehow decided to mess with the field controls and have Luigi use an AI. You know, speaking of Paper Mario, the TTYD remake and all the other ones also pissed me off. Why remake anything if you refuse to give the bare minimum and have it run at the original game's frame rate? Like, 60 frames per second, optimization is part of game design. And most of these games aren't very optimized for Nintendo's hardware. Like, they don't even bother trying to at least have it run at an appropriate frame rate, which really baffles me. Also, changes like being unable to skip the intro like in the original and dropping items taking longer to deal with than in the original. All that stuff makes no sense and just has no real meaning to, like, why is that there? How do you call this a remake and a better version of it if simple things like that can't even be in there? Yeah, but it's okay, because the Troons, they got their validation, so the game is peak, I guess. A lot of the Switch system's libraries are just ports or ugly, bad-looking remakes. Overall, just stuff from prior systems or maybe a new game that I just don't really care for. They can be very fine games, but I'm just not interested in a lot of the library. Now, I'm not saying make games for me or anything, but I'm just saying, you know, for a system that has so much titles on it, there's really not a lot to offer that isn't elsewhere. You know, another big issue I got with Nintendo is, well, just look. Look at this box, the menus, any advertisements for this thing. What do you notice? Nothing? Yeah, that's right. It's freaking nothing. Remember when Nintendo systems had some personality, either its design or its operating system, soul? What's with all this minimalistic shit? It's bad enough I have a fragile rectangle with baby sticks clipped to it, but why is the menus gotta be so gross? Is this really worth $400? Were people really like, this is hard to focus. Where's the game is? The animations are confusing. I really don't want this. The presentation sucks these days. Again, flat design, the corporate font. Why is it in Donkey Kong or Mario? It doesn't fit and it looks gay. Not even Nintendo fans like it. And along with the really oversaturated Cocomelon colors you see in Tamagotchi, Brothership, Pokapia, and Banana, it just makes these games feel like they were made for fucking retarded little babies, as opposed to the prior eras where anyone can pick up a game, whether it's a GameCube or a 3DS game. Anyone can pick these games up. They had a lot of personality. They had menus. They had these funky texts. They had unique voice clips. Ready? Then you get to their games now, and it's like, why this font? Why these graphical effects? What's with all this anti-aliasing bullshit? It looks like Donkey Kong's in India swimming in shit. It makes everything have an unnatural sheen to it. And again, what are these voices talking and singing to me? Jamboree! Yeah, the average normie or Nintendo fan will buy this stuff regardless, but what about humans? All these look babyish and gay. Plus, Donkey Kong's redesign sucks. You're telling me, Nintendo, the what is essentially both the Disney and video games, which, yeah, you can say that's both a good and bad thing to say, but you're telling me they are so uncreative they can't make this emote. I can do this. Watch. There, I did it. Now give me 6 million shekels this instant, you disgusting
magic nose goblin.
And don't sit and give me that bullshit of, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, if I need to go buy a used car and I see a rusted slab with broken windows, trash sticking out, and parts falling off, maybe that's not something I should buy. That's what these games look like. You're a faggot. I swear, Nintendo fans are so low, they call anything peak before it's even announced, which is essentially just the same thing. Yeah, the only games that still have some quality are the Kirby games, because it's not really Nintendo's corporate influence on them. And yeah, they're pretty fun games and all that, but, but things like Air Rider, I'm not really going to blow hundreds of dollars just to play Air Riders and never touch the thing again, because I'm not really into racing games. Okay, well, what does Nintendo have that's even worth this $1,000 anyway? Just overpriced baby builds and goo-goo sticks. And don't shove some random catalog and bring up our faking gay economy. I don't care. Nobody fucking cares about the economy or any money or all that gay shit. Games should be priced fairly based on its conditions. I swear, fans are gonna screech about indie projects with no regard of what others would think looking at it. And yeah, some of these are cool. I'm actually pretty hyped for Paper Mario the Sticker Comet and all that. I don't know, it's like, a lot of fans of something, they kind of want to have the company who owns the IP to make good games, to make worthy follow-ups to what they've made in the past, because they want the developers to respect the franchise and its actual legacy and what its fans are into. I like Paper Mario because it's the Mario characters, the stories are interesting, and there's a lot of weird scenarios you don't see them in. And also you get to see some really interesting new faces in the series. But something like Bug Fables, it's just people's OCs, and like with most indie games, it's got all this gay shit in it. Like, nobody wants to see blatant ideology if you're gonna put that in your game. Plus, I don't want to have a Steam or any modern system account anyway, so why are you shoving this in my face? Yeah, I can stick to older games, which I do that a lot. I still love the GameCube, the Wii, DS, Dreamcast, and PS2. I still play all that stuff half the time, but I still want to see new things. I want to see new things. I want to see what they can make that can surpass this stuff. I'm not saying, again, like I said, I'm not saying make games for me, but just give a shit. Don't just have these lazily put together experiences that are clearly just made by some college kids told what to do. Try to actually make something that's great and new and surpasses it. I haven't seen that in over a decade. Odyssey, it's just, I don't want to get into Odyssey that much, but Odyssey is just so freaking boring. It's just so padded out. I hate it so much. I hated it. It would never surpass Sunshine, that's for sure. Galaxy, forget about it. Anyway, and besides, if I just stuck with retro games and indie games, what does that tell the company exactly? Like, what does that say to the company that, oh yeah, you don't have to improve or make good products. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't put any effort into it. Who cares? You know, it just weakens their output and gives them this level of content that just shows, you know, the mediocre is fine. But then again, it's not really game quality that matters too much these days, but how much you can just pump out efficiently. If this was an airplane, they would have had to shorten one of the wings in order to make this thing go faster, which, yeah, you are going at a more efficient pace right now, but that's because you're just going down. I'm not going to act like everything was perfect back then. Obviously, during the NES era, they had that third-party rule. There was also their constant, persistent war against emulation they still do now. They had the Creators Program, and they also had tons of crackdowns on anything that resembled a modification to their device. Even though you bought their product, yeah, you don't actually own it. It's like communism. Also, one final and quick notes to add. Kevin Afghanistan is the worst successor to Martin A. Even in AI or old voice recordings are better than this goat fucker.
Mario number 1!
Mario number 1!
Here we go!
Here we go!
Okie dokie!
Okie dokie!
If he's so good, why do they keep avoiding him with these re-releases or giving him tiny roles where he barely even says anything? Anyway, that's all I wanted to babble about. I swear, Nintendo is like near dead to me. I like to see what they're doing once in a while, but I swear, it's like I can predict the next Direct right now. It's just 5 re-releases, a PC port that's very watered down and has noticeable frame rate issues, and probably a remake of another old game. And that's probably their next Direct. Oh yeah, and also don't forget a bunch of indie shit, but I swear, I don't even care anymore. They can make one good game, and I'm not buying it, man. I just don't care anymore. They can make their...
Yay! Those shows existed!
Movies. They can make their low-effort slop games. I'm not buying them. Fuck them. I want to bang Princess Peach.